destructive spiritual values. A devotee of the Lord always has the Lord in his mind. Understand this?
Yes.
The devotee of the Lord always has the Lord in his mind, and thus he does not need to be desireless, because all his desires are in relationship to the service of your deity. So therefore the mind should always be having Krishna, always having your deity on your mind at every step. Whether you're on Sankirtan or whether you're doing everything from your deity, and the whole life is centered around your deity. All your activities. The power of speaking is called Saraswati, or the goddess of learning, and the birthplace of the goddess of learning is the mouth of the monk. Even if a man is endowed with the favor of the goddess of learning, it is quite possible for his heart to be full of lust and material desire, and his eyebrows to display symptoms of anger. One may be very learned in the mundane estimation, but that does not mean that he is free from all low activities of lust and anger. Good qualification can be expected only from a pure devotee who is always engaged in the thought of his deity, or in samadhi with faith. So samadhi means to be always absorbed in realizing that your whole life is centered around your deity.
You know, I just met, what is her name? My god sister, you know, the Japanese. Anyway, I have one Vasti, she left ISKCON. She has a garage, and she came to our house and she told me.
When?
Just not a couple days ago. She said, in worship of Govardhan, there has to be one thing understood. There's no puja to Govardhan. It's all just seva, it's service.
The idea is that you want to do things which are pleasing to you. Okay. You're offering the incense. The same activity may be there. The gopis are also offering arti. But their idea is not that puja means that you're worshiping there as a kind of, let's say, formality. Puja is a formal process. But in Govardhan worship, there's not puja, it is service. Service means that you're giving him the pleasure of smelling some nice incense. So you're offering the incense to him. You're offering the flame to him, which is representative of your own heart's love for him. The flame of your desire for his pleasure. And Krishna accepts that flame of your heart's desire. That's why you should light it with a tulsi stick, so that you get, so that you're offering in effect something which is worth 10 million of your heart's flames of desire for pleasing him. And that will please him 10 million times over by the grace of tulsi. He's so pleased and so happy with tulsi. You know, you can hardly offer him anything, but by bringing tulsi into the picture, Krishna is so satisfied. He becomes satisfied with you because you're considering his pleasure in the matter of his relationship with tulsi. So it is not a question of a formality of puja, a formal type of worship, which is a very elementary, rudimentary type of basic training of a soul to regard Krishna, but is based on the principle of love or pleasing him. Seva means for his pleasure. So the artik is for his pleasure. And in consideration of how to please him, we should associate those things which are pleasing to him with the thing that we're trying to do. Therefore, offering the artik with the lighting of lamps with tulsi, touching the incense. If you touch any wood with tulsi, it becomes as pure as tulsi. You take the tulsi stick and you touch the incense with the tulsi stick, and that wood becomes purified and more pleasing to Krishna. You offer the flower to Krishna. By best as if you can, anything and everything that you offer, you should associate with tulsi. That's why we should chant on the tulsi mala, because Krishna is very pleased when we're associating with our chanting with tulsi. We should keep tulsi leaf on our tongue, so that he's pleased to hear our words, which are vibrated with this vile tongue. But because it's associated with tulsi, he's happy to hear such words. Keeping tulsi. Tulsi, tulsi, tulsi. Because Krishna is so pleased with tulsi. So similarly, when we offer the water to Krishna, we should place tulsi in the water. We should offer tulsi water to Krishna. When we offer the bath to Krishna, we should place tulsi water. All of this is because he's so pleased with tulsi. So as an expression of our love, we want to make the arrangements for him to be pleasingly associated with his beloved tulsi. He's so pleased. It's not a matter of ritual. It's a matter of considering his pleasure in everything and anything that we're doing. Our life is dedicated to his pleasure. This is called Prem Seva or Bhav Seva. Atmavat Seva is a kind of Bhav Seva. Bhav meaning mood, devotional mood. Atmavat means the consideration of Krishna's pleasure in terms of our own experience. Just like if someone pricks you with a pin, then you will think twice about pricking someone with a pin. So if it hurts when you get pricked with a pin, then you dare not prick the deity with a pin, because you know that it's going to hurt and he's going to feel it, and it will be more distressing to you to prick him with a pin than to be pricked with a pin yourself, because you love him. You're willing to accept any calamity to save him from calamity. Before you would dare to allow him to fall into distress, you're willing to accept even the distress of death. His pleasure is worth more to you than your own life's breath. You're ready to give up your life for him. What's the proof that you're ready to go to hell for Krishna, for Krishna's pleasure, if you're not even willing to give up your life to protect him? If someone's trying to steal the deity away from you, some demon or something, on the airport, trying to steal the deity, and he's grabbing your bag or something, you should prefer to give up your life on the spot than to allow that deity to get his hand. So you'll fight to your life, to the last breath, and die on the spot if he must leave your hands. Because his pleasure is such a consideration, is worth so much to you. His pleasure that he should not be in a distressed condition. So therefore you should give up your life. When you take the deity into your hands, especially Govardhan Shila, you have to be prepared to give up your life for its pleasure. It's not a light thing. You sacrifice your own life. Just like there was one Mataji, one of our god sisters. In Mayapur, the dacoits were attacking the deities. To break the deities. To steal the deities. They stole Radharani.
In Mayapur?
In Mayapur. They stole Radharani.
The big one?
No, small, many years ago. They're thinking that it was gold or something. They later found the deity with the arms broken. But this Mataji jumped up on the altar and she got her arms cut, trying to protect the deity. Ladies are not allowed on the altar, but because she was so much concerned for the protection of the deity against the attack of the dacoits, she went up onto the altar and she put her own body, her own arms between the sword which was coming down to attack the deity, break the deity, and the deity. She threw herself between the sword and the deity, and she received the cuts of the sword, the hack marks in her own arms. Prabhupada told that for that act alone, Krishna is taking her back to God.
She didn't die.
No, she's still living.
She's still alive.
He said, even though he has to drag her home back to Godhead, bitching and complaining the whole way. That she'll be bitching and complaining the whole way as he drags her home back to Godhead. But because she did that for him, he's dragging her home back to God. So we should be so concerned that the deity doesn't become in a distressful condition.
Inconvenience.
Yes. If he's with you, under your protection, there's a chance that he can come back to Vrindavan and enjoy the atmosphere of Vrindavan. But if he gets out of your hands, in the hands of a median incarnate and thrown in the garbage somewhere, then what chances are there for him? You should consider like this. He's independent. Ultimately, he can do whatever he wants. He goes wherever he wants to go. Sometimes he's willing to take the inconvenience, to take the distress on his own head in order to train up his nonsense, neophyte devotees. But we should never allow it to come to that position where he has to opt to do such a thing. To wake us up. We should be awake already. The deity is in our hands. We have to wake up now. It's not time for sleeping. You have to be prepared to give up your life, practically, to protect the deity. Not that you throw the deity and run for your life. you should prefer to die than to allow. Even if by dying the deity gets into the hands, but you would rather die than to have to live to see your deity in the hands of the demons. Need eating. That's Seva. That his pleasure is worth more than your own life. You have to have that mentality. That is the mentality. And that's Seva. And that will lead to prema. Krishna's Govardhan has come to give you prema. But you have to, you have to manifest that prema. Govardhan Shila is pure transcendental Shuddha Sattva. All of Krishna's Shaktis, Swarup Shaktis, everything is there. By association with the Shuddha Sattvic Swarup Shakti of Krishna, your prema becomes ignited in the heart. But there's a science. You have to associate properly by adopting the proper seva bhavana, favorable to consideration of his absolute pleasures. Alone, exclusively, kevala bhakti. Without any consideration of your own satisfaction or dissatisfaction, enjoyment in the affair. It is totally irrelevant to the question of Krishna's pleasure. So we have to adopt that attitude. If we don't have that attitude, then you're not doing Govardhan worship, and you will not get the benefit of Govardhan. You have to fully sell yourself out to the pleasure of Govardhan. If you adopt that mentality, then you'll make progress in Krishna consciousness by leaps and bounds. And you'll realize your Guru's mercy. Even if Guru can't give, but Krishna can give. But Guru has given you Krishna, who can give. At least he's kindly allowed you to have the association with Krishna and Krishna's Shaktis. So some indebtedness should be there. Vrindavan can give you everything. Even if a low-born karmi told you to go to Vrindavan and you went to Vrindavan, the low-born karmi, you should feel indebted to him because by Vrindavan's mercy you got Krishna Prema. By Yamuna's mercy you got Krishna Prema. By Tulsi's mercy you got Krishna Prema. You pleased Krishna. You became steeped with the hopes and aspirations for satisfying Krishna. And ultimately became overwhelmed with ecstatic love for Krishna, pouring incessant tears, thinking of his happiness, thinking of his distress, thinking of his separation. Even the thought that you will be separated from those deities should make you pour incessant tears.
That fear was already there first day.
It has to be there. If it's not there, then I'm immediately going to take the deities back. and place them back in Govardhan. I have the power to do that. It's a damn serious thing. Krishna wants his sense gratification and he demands it. And it's our business to seriously consider, and not only consider, but act on his demand. He has the right to demand. We have to command respect. We can't demand respect, but he can demand respect. He has that position. Our position is to follow his desires, serve his desires. He demands your love. Nothing else will do. He doesn't want anything from you. He wants your complete 100% absorption in love for him. Love means seva. Seva means in consideration of his pleasure. That is pure devotional service. That is pure devotee. You're supposed to be a pure devotee. Nothing less. Not a klutz. Imbecilic buffoon. Which is quite the description. You're supposed to be a pure devotee. Not a clown. Madhavananda was a clown, but he's totally absorbed it. His clowning is for Krishna's pleasure. It's not nonsensical. It's totally full of all kinds of sense. Because it's 100% directed for the pleasure of Krishna. Our clowning in the material world is total nonsense. I never want to experience the distress of hearing that you've allowed those deities. You're saying that. I never want to hear it. Just the thought of it. This is a nice statement. It says there is complete agreement between Srimad Bhagavatam and the Brahma Samhita. Eternal time is never lost along with the life of Brahma. It continues, but it has no ability to control the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because the Lord is the controller of time. In the spiritual world, there is undoubtedly time. This should be understood. Otherwise, how can it be Astakali Leelas? But there's no time. There's a saying in Brahma Samhita that time is conspicuous by its absence in the spiritual world. So Prabhupada is here saying that in the spiritual world there is undoubtedly time. But it has no control over activities. Time is unlimited, and the spiritual world is also unlimited, since everything there exists on the absolute plane.
You know,
There is time.
I always had the impression that there's units of time. There's a unit of time, and we can perceive that unit through different access of your consciousness. Just like when you're attentive and you're chanting your rounds, you're entering another dimension of sense of time or something,
Time is relative to the depth of our absolute experience. In the material world, time has its relative effects. Sometimes, what is appearing to be an eternity is only manifest within a few seconds, or a few moments, or a few months. And in Krishna consciousness, time is also. The gopis experience one moment to be like 12 years or more. So what is the meaning of a unit of time? Right? How is it? This here. Okay. No.
Dead.
No good, it's dead. Why dead?
This skin is मोटा वाला दे दिया थोड़ा निकल जाता जल्दी.
Well, why dead? I want it alive. No good. Big name here. Change.
Change.
Sound change.
Reply sound change.
No. I don't accept. Abhi sound change. So that's enough for today. Not in one ear and out the other ear. Whether I'm saying these things from the platform of absolute
He said,
perfection.
this skin is very fat, he gave.
So why giving fat skin?
Because very quickly they break, they go to the...
Fat skin is no sounding good?
After 1 week, the sound will come. If after 1 week, the sound is not nice, and he will become.
Okay.
But this downstairs mridanga is very sweet sound,
I know.
This is also very sweet sound before, when new.
Yes, I know.
Now it's
Now it's something dead.
There was nice, nothing. So sweet, the downstairs mridanga. I like to play whole
Don't
day.
break it.
Huh?
Don't break it.
No, I never
Keep
break.
it nicely.
But some another different, I won't break it. I never break any mridanga.
This is pretty good. That side is good.
Yeah.
Yeah, but still.
After 1 week, if you're not coming, he'll be return.
Okay. Sound is important.
Because वहाँ कीर्तन होता है ना, मजा आता तब साउंड बूम बूम बजाना.
Yes. Boom. Nice.
इसका मसाला change
He said it doesn't change the
Oh,
masala.
this masala changing is not good sound. This side. Boom, boom.
That should be some string
Here.
inside.
This
Yes.
thing good.
String inside and it's okay. Let's hear this side. No more high. This high is more nice.
This guy, this leather is not good. This जितना टाइट कर रहा हूँ उतना ही ढीला आ रहा है.
It's tightening more, but always become loose.
जितना टाइट करो उतना ही ढीला आ जाता है।
Anyway, it's alright, it's not so bad. It's okay.
वो हारमोनियम वाला को बोल देना।
हाँ,
टाइम तो हो गया।
यहाँ 15 तारीख को निकल गया।
ज़्यादा
मैंने
हो
उस दिन
ज़्यादा-
कहा था
15
और
के ज़्यादा
वो
दिन हो
मेरे
गया।
ऊपर गुस्सा आ गया, कह रहे 15 का पहले कैसे खबर दे दें।
मैं ऐसे पूछने के लिए गया था खबर लेने के लिए।
नहीं, बाबूजी ने कहा था, हमने दिया था बना क्या नहीं चला, खबर दे देना।
उसको यहाँ पे दूसरा हारमोनियम जो और भी टूटा फूटा था वो दूसरी जगह ले गया था, उसको एकदम चका के बना
हारमोनियम बनाए तो बस स्टैंड है ना, सरकारी बस
What I'm
स्टैंड,
saying is correct.
मतलब
Of course.
कोई भी एक आदमी करता है, दिल्ली से आया है, अच्छा काम करता है।
I'm also a buffoon.
फिर कभी बनाना है, हारमोनियम तानपुरा सब पे काम करता है।
वही
हाँ, हमको
Even I
कहना
cannot
हम सब
practice
लेकर
what I
चलेंगे।
preach.
हारमोनियम रिपेयर करना पड़ेगा।
It's
हारमोनियम
definitely I practice what I
गिटार
preach.
सब पे काम करता है।
At least considerably.
दो हारमोनियम हमारे पास एक हारमोनियम
Just
दो
like
हारमोनियम एक्स्ट्रा
my dailies are not even awakened yet. I let them go. How much am I considering their pleasure? At least I'm happy that they're here in Vrindavan. You know, I could do better, no doubt. But I'll guard them with my life. This point, I'm completely hollow.
कोई भी
How much?
this play 50 rupees 60 rupees लेता है,
Yeah.
110 110
The sign of a knowledgeable man is that he can accept good advice even from a fool and put it into practice. You understand? You know, even if I'm a nonsense, but the advice is quite correct. So you should recognize and you not be a nonsense. If you're not a nonsense, you follow this good advice and don't be a nonsense and intensify your love and you get Krishna Prema. Even if I don't get Krishna Prema, still you're benefiting me because you followed that instruction that was coming from my side. Because I gave you the instruction, you're getting Krishna Prema also benefits me. You know, so at least that much, you should consider it. That is also seva. Not to benefit others. I may be a nonsense, I may go to hell. But if you do nicely, if you do right, then you can deliver me from hell.
I owe you also an 800 rupees or 900 rupees, so I give it to Mom tomorrow.
If you need it, I'm prepared to pay half the cost of that microphone.
No, no.
This is a non-goods and man care repairing.
Okay, yes. People think that I don't preach. I think that in Vrindavan there's no preaching. This is not preaching. Even if it's just to one person. Not preaching. Krishna's not.
Don't worry.
Krishna's not satisfied.
All these things will be revealed by time, to a certain personality.
I'm telling you. Preaching is everything. Preaching is our life.
Why do you think we call it in Japan? Because we are inspired to hear from it.
Huh?
Why do you think we call it in Japan?
That's right.
Because we're getting the juice, you know.
But the point is that
It distributes books, it gives people, you know, it comes from Vrindavan, you know.
preaching, this Vrindavan is supposed to be the beacon light,
Yes.
which gives inspiration to the whole society. That's not preaching. You know? This foolish conceptions that people have about and misunderstanding. They miss the point. Rasa Lila is Parakya Ras, manifest in Rasa Lila, which is manifest in this plane, in the realm of Brajabhumi. It is preaching. It is the preaching of the Brajvasis. Brajete Prachar. Prachar means preaching. This song called Nam Sankirtan. Jai Radhe, Jai Krishna, Jai Vrindavan. This song, it clearly describes Brajete Prachar. Vrindavan is manifest in this world to preach the glories of Golok Dham to the whole world. Confirmed. Twice confirmed. 3 times, 4 times confirmed. So we have to understand, Prabhupada said that if you don't use this Vrindavan Yatra, his instruction is that if you don't use this Vrindavan Yatra for preaching, it will simply become a go-down. You know what go-down is? In Hindi, it means storehouse. We have to break open the storehouse and distribute love of Godhead. That is preaching. It's the seeds of love of Godhead. So Vrindavan, this Vrindavan Yatra is meant for preaching. It's only meant for preaching. But what is the use of preaching if we aren't relishing also? We have to taste the fruits of love of Godhead and distribute the fruits of love of Godhead. Not only distribute the fruits of love of Godhead. How will you get the enthusiasm, the inspiration to distribute the fruits? Where will there be real compassion unless there's tasting? You have to relish the sweetness of Krishna Bhakti Ras. By relishing, we appreciate, we realize that we have something wonderful. And we empathize with the plight of people that don't have something wonderful, that we ourselves are experiencing. And we want to give them that same experience by making arrangements for them to have that experience. That is real compassion. But if we ourselves are not getting the experience, only theoretical, and we read about it in a book, but we're not actually relishing Prema Bhakti Ras, then what are we getting? And what are we really able to give? We can help to make the arrangements for Prabhupada to help give the thing that we're not able to give because we don't have it to give. And that may be to our credit to some extent, but it's not everything. We have to relish. So Vrindavan is for relishing also. For relishing Krishna consciousness and distributing Krishna consciousness. So bhajan and preaching. Preaching is our bhajan. But bhajan goes beyond preaching also. There's something more. And that is relishing the relationship. Not just giving lip service. Like a blabbermouth.
Blabber?
Blabbermouth.
Blabbermouth.
Mouthing off. I'm expert at mouthing off. So-called preaching. But am I actually relishing? I have to relish. What relish? Not relish the so-called sweetness of the bitter fruits of lust, anger, greed, illusion, madness, envy. But relishing the sweet fruits of pure devotional service, pleasing Krishna. Krishnendriya Priti Ishcha, have the desire to satisfy Krishna's senses. That is prema. So we should understand what is prema and cultivate the very thing which prema is, namely the desire to satisfy the senses of Krishna. Fill the cup with milk of the desire to satisfy the senses of Krishna, and when it's full, your heart overflows with prema. And that overflow of prema is called preaching. When it overflows to the hearts of others, that is preaching. But if the prema is not there overflowing, if we're not filling the cup with prema bhakti ras, which means Krishnendriya Priti Ischa, the desire to satisfy Krishna, relishing the activities which are based on that desire to satisfy the senses of Krishna. Whether it's based on neutrality, servitude, friendship, or parental love, or conjugal love, that desire to satisfy Krishna's senses, both directly and indirectly, by making the arrangements for others to meet with Krishna. Beginning with making the arrangements for Radharani to meet with Krishna, for Krishna's pleasure, for her satisfaction. To participate in their leelas, and to extend that participation to others by making arrangements for the others to come forward to also participate in their leelas. Why are we preaching? Why are we extending our hand that way? We're extending a helping hand this way, but we're also extending a hand this way to bring them to the position of extending their hand this way and that way. We're not just extending our hand this way. We have to be connected. We have to extend our hand this way by lending a helping hand in the leelas of Krishna for his direct sense satisfaction. He wants to include others in that process of directly satisfying his senses. Or at least indirectly in terms of making arrangements for Radha directly, or his other gopikas directly, if not directly ourselves, which may also be there by Radharani's grace, when she's satisfied with our devotional attitude, when she sees that we really have the desire to satisfy Krishna. We're not simply, after our own sense gratification in the exchange. Then she will recommend us to Krishna. Just like Swarup Damodar, would have to recommend anything which was to be heard by Chaitanya. Any writings, any poems, any dramas, anything. They would have to go through Swarup Damodar. Otherwise, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was not interested to hear anything. So similarly, our devotional expressions will have to be approved by Radharani, by our Guru Parampara, etc. They will have to be approved. When they're satisfied to approve and give our recommendation to Krishna, give their recommendation on our behalf to Krishna, then Krishna will be pleased to accept our services directly, simultaneously, directly, and through the mercy of our spiritual master, we may have the opportunity to experience prem seva at the feet of Krishna. So that is part and parcel of the need for increasing our preaching capacity, our preaching, what do you call it, potency. If we ourselves aren't endeavoring to be involved, praying to be involved in the prem sevas of Radha and Krishna's leelas, and internal leelas. The whole purpose of preaching is to bring people into the internal fold of devotional service, to extend our hands outward to pull them in to the internal realm of Krishna's eternal association, the service of his eternal leelas, internal leelas. That is the meaning of preaching. We're extending out to pull them in. But we also have to be going in. Our gurus have extended their hands out to pull us in. Into what? Into the relationship with Krishna. Into the eternal association of Krishna. Krishna is not alone. He's there with all of his entourage. Krishna and his entourage amounts to leelas, which are all centered around their desires for exchanging loving transactions. And they're inviting us to participate. So we have to go in that direction, and we have to extend. To the extent that we go in that direction, to that extent we'll understand the beauty and purpose in the matter of increasing anandam buddhi vardhanam pratipadam, means increasing the transcendental ocean of Krishna's pleasure, not increasing our own pleasure by gratifying ourselves that we're great preachers or something, simply concerned with extending ourselves, ad infinitum, externally, outwardly, the outward expression, with no internal substance of a practical relationship with Krishna, in terms of the internal cultivation of rasa. We have to cultivate rasa. Otherwise, definitely, in our attempt, show bottle attempt to supposedly preach, we will fall down to let's say absorption in mundaneness. You should read my letter.
Yeah, we should.
My letter is very important. Before you go, you should read that letter, because it has some important substance. Any thoughtful person.
Where is it?
I have it in my picture.
Yeah.
unfortunately, it's not finished editing. I should do that in the next couple of days. I don't remember if I had it on this computer. I wanted to write a couple more paragraphs.
You gonna shoot the ball?
Huh?
You gonna shoot it up?
Shoot it? It's there.
It's waiting for the proper.
If someone wants to pry in, you know, there's certain devotees who are antagonistic and want to question my thinking or my, you know, position. So they will, if they want to pry in, then they'll get a load of it.
That's
Huh?
how you saw it, right?
And others. You know, I've made my statement. You know, so they have to, they will have to get a load of it, and they'll have to, you know, come to terms.
This is actually very important, you know, this voice to come through. Because you can see even with senior devotees, they doubtful now.
Huh?
Even senior devotees, you know, they themselves today becoming doubtful. And
why do you think they're going away?
I don't talk about Hare Krishna, I talk about...
I'm talking about so many.
Yeah.
Jagadish Maharaj, Harikesh Maharaj, what's his name? In Venezuela.
Yeah.
Case and case and case. I'm talking about at least 90% of the disciples that were initiated by Srila Prabhupada. Why do you think they're going away? They've gone away and are going away. And very few of them are coming back in this life. They will have to change their bodies and take their birth in England, you know, in order to give up their attachment to the mundane rust of Western civilization. Because they're attached to Western values, Western culture. Nonsense. Prabhupada's told 90% of the voters will again have to take their birth in India because they're too much attached to Western. And that's the way it is. Because they're not entering in to the relishing of superior rus.
It's unfortunate that even though they know, some of them know, that they cannot enter, unfortunately they are not very enthusiastic to let others.
It's envy.
You know, make the attempt at least.
They can enter if they want to enter. They don't want to enter because they're still too attached. So we have to, under wraps, secretly, because we can't not do it, because if we don't do it, then where will we be in a few years?
Same way with where they are.
Yes.
Therefore we have to.
It's absolutely essential.
Yes. But it has to be done intelligently, you know.
Scientifically.
Yeah, scientifically. It has to be done in a way so it's digestible and it's harmonically, you know.
In accordance with the Guru Shastra and Sadhana, predecessor charges, as a seva, not as a sense gratification. As soon as the idea of sense gratification enters, then the whole thing becomes spoiled.
Exactly. Just like you play music. If you don't play music for Krishna, if you play for your own sense gratification, the whole mood becomes.
Yeah.
It's immediately just even harmonium.
Disgusting.
Yeah, it becomes horrible. You know, you cannot enter. You cannot attract no one. It becomes artificial. You know.
As a service to Krishna, it's our bounden duty, as it were, to become Krishna conscious. Becoming Krishna conscious means becoming conscious of who Krishna is, what Krishna is all about. It's absolutely necessary to make progress in Krishna consciousness. We must enter into the transcendental, relishing of Krishna's intimate leelas. Is essential, but with the proper service attitude. If the service attitude is not sufficiently developed, then we will never allow anyone to enter into those leelas. But it's actually essential to enter into those leelas in order to come to the position of genuine Krishna consciousness. Otherwise, it's more or less superficial. So training is necessary. Accepted Govardhan worship. The service of Govardhan deity. You know, this is only for the purpose of making you more fit to become as an eternal associate of Krishna. If your inclination is toward the Madhurya Ras, which is very nice, but you have to make sure that what you're really inclined to is the Shuddha Madhurya Ras, not the Madhurya Ras of Kubja, wherein you're trying to eke out some personal satisfaction in the affair. Not the Madhurya Ras that is manifest in the queens of Dwarka. You have to understand the difference between Sadharani Rati, Samjasa Rati, and Samartha Rati of the Braja Gopis. We're so far from that. But the ideal should be within our grasp, within our vision. We have to at least see the spiritual world. We have to know where we're going. To be able to analytically appreciate where we are now in comparison to where we have to get to in order to understand what we have to do in order to get to where we got to go. How much nonsense we have to give up. Let us see how much the yardstick has to be there. How much nonsense. Our heart is full of rubbish. You know how many buckets and buckets, bins and bins of rubbish we have to clean out before we have the degree of purity that the Braja Gopis have in their relationship with Krishna, in their endeavors to please Krishna. The realm of Braja is actually only meant to accommodate that standard of purity. Krishna doesn't allow any other substandard elements to enter. In his doesn't allow it. It means they are proper leaders. Only the topmost refined, selfless, loving spirit is enjoyed by Krishna in this realm of Braj. So we have to very carefully, say, investigate. What is the constitution, the makeup of that standard of loving service attitude?
There was one question before which we asked you about which Radha and Krishna is going away from Vrindavan. You classify the Viyogini, Samyogini.
Yes,
So when I am taking Radha and Krishna from Vrindavan, in form of Govardhana,
you should never take Radha and Krishna from Vrindavan.
I should never take them from Vrindavan. So I'm going away physically, but I'm staying in Vrindavan.
You must always remain
This is the answer.
in Brajabhav.
That's the answer.
Yes.
And therefore I am always associating with the Harini Shakti
With
of Radha.
Janandan and Radha.
Yes.
Krishna.
That's all that I want to know.
But you should understand that you're far from Brajabhav.
Yes, of course.
So then you have to come up to that standard.
So I should feel great anxiety, urgency and anxiety to meet that standard.
Yes, because otherwise
I cannot facilitate. Then Krishna and Radha is alone without service. How can I serve them if I don't know who I am?
there are different realms. Just like this one village outside of Dwarka called Gopi. It is Nava Vrindavan. So at least wherever you go should be Gupta Vrindavan or Nava Vrindavan. Another Gupta Vrindavan is Jaipur. It is also Gupta Vrindavan. Although it appears to be separated from Braj Mandal, but it is Vrindavan. It is Gupta Vrindavan. Gupta means hidden, secret. It is Nava Vrindavan, New Vrindavan. New Vrindavan, which was established, by Kirtanananda, and ordained by Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada even said that our new Vrindavan, should be more ideal than the Vrindavan, because in this Vrindavan there's so many sinful activities going on by persons who are not qualified to live in Vrindavan. But in our new Vrindavan community, there should be only the pure devotional spirit of a Brajvasi. Rupa Goswami says the best is living in Vrindavan, physically. Because obviously we should understand, although New Vrindavan is Vrindavan, but Vrindavan is more Vrindavan than New Vrindavan. It's just the way it is. An ultimate issue. The original Vrindavan, Golok Vrindavan, Gokul Vrindavan, is Brajabhumi. It is a prototype. And even though others may be Vrindavan, they're expansions. Wherever there's a single Tulsi tree, that forest where there's a single Tulsi tree is considered to be as good as Vrindavan. So in the temples where they're having Tulsi, it's also considered to be as good as Vrindavan. Still, this Vrindavan is 1,000 times more powerful. Yet, let's say, secondary recommendation. If you cannot do the primary thing of physically residing in this Brajabhumi, then even if you have to, for any reason, go outside, whether it's for preaching or whether it's for anything, one must, the word used is must, always, mentally, heartily reside in Brajadam. And always think of life in Brajadam by always connecting with the Leelas of Krishna in Brajadam. And always relating to your Govardhan deity in those terms. And praying to him to please allow you to eternally and always reside in Brajadam. And always be absorbed in the cultivation of Braja Bhakti, which is of the highest selfless order, which can be expressed through our preaching, which is selfless service expression. If the preaching is actually done with, on the mature devotional platform. Only a Brajvasi can preach the glories of Braja, to be real. Uddhava also glorified Braja, but he was only able to do so on account of his having become blessed by the Brajvasis. He understood the superlative nature of Braja Bhakti, although he himself was not able to personally embrace it. But even though he is able to regard and give expression to the superlative nature of the love of the Brajvasis, still, it is only the Brajvasi who can directly give expression to it, to that kind of love. It is only the Brajvasi who can instill Braja Bhakti into the heart of another and bring him to the position of also being as a, you can say, nationalized Brajvasi. Not nationalized, but you know what I mean. Only the Brajvasi can do that. That's why it is absolutely essential in the cultivation of Braja Bhakti to be attached, adherent to the feet of a Brajvasi, an eternal Brajvasi, someone who's eternally situated in Brajadam. Otherwise, there's no prospect. There's no hope. So we have to have that connection. Srila Prabhupada instructed us that he is that connection. He is that eternal Brajvasi. And all of his gurus in the line of the Rupananda Sampradaya, they are all eternal Brajvasis. Whether they're living in Braja or whether there's many associates of Lord Chaitanya who are eternal Brajvasis who never came to Brajadam. But wherever they were was as good as Vrindavan because they were always absorbed in Braja Bhava. Braja Prema. Because they were always absorbed in Braja Prema, wherever they were was as good as Vrindavan. But not that we, who don't even have Braja Prema, just because we're going out there and going through a few of the motions of supposedly preaching on behalf of the Braja Bhakti Sampradaya, which is basically all what it is. You know, that we're, wherever we go is Braja. You know, if we're having selfish motivations in our mind and attachments to materialism and anarthas and all these things, you know, where's the question of our transforming wherever we are in the Braja? We can't even transform our own heart into Braja. What to speak of transforming anything else around us into effectively the nature of the realm of Braja. Abhiram Thakur could whip somebody, and immediately he became, you know, totally overwhelmed with Braja Prema. You know, such was his influence. You know, but what is our influence? We will only be effective, you know, in our preaching to the extent that we actually imbibe the what do you call it, the essence of the nature of that sweet type of love for Krishna. We have to associate with agents of that type of love in order to be, let's say, impressed with that type of love in our own heart. It has to rub off on us from somewhere. If you have fool's gold and you scratch it on a black stone, you're not going to get impressions of gold. You're going to get impressions of fool's gold. You have to rub gold on the black stone. Then you get impressions of gold. And what will be on the stone is gold. Because it's coming from gold. But if it's coming from fool's gold, no matter how much you rub fool's gold on the black stone, will you get gold? You'll never get gold. So we have to be associated with the pure agents of Braja Bhakti in order to have that Braja Bhakti impressed in our heart or awakened in our heart. We have to have impressions of life in Braja.
Yeah,
in order to live outside of Braja and always be absorbed in thinking of life in Braja, we have to have impressions of life in Braja in our heart.
Just like to see those Brijbas, there were Brijbas singing today, right?
Yes.
Just to see their spirit, you know, their enthusiasm and their nature, and then it just gives you a certain impression, which is life impression, you know.
Yes.
It never can be.
You can never have that by not having ever seen such thing.
No. That was so important just to be there, you know.
Yes. That's why when you live in Braja, practically.
And Krishna didn't allow that recording to come through. I was so, I can't believe it. It would be a good live recording.
No, not that Krishna didn't allow. You didn't allow.
Because I'm stupid. I'm sorry. That was a bummer, I tell you.
Don't blame your stupidity on Krishna's mercy. Prabhupada said.
That would be a good live recording actually. It just melted through, you know. You're singing with their kirtan, then back to your kirtan. It would have been a good shot. That happened lots of times, something like this in this temple.
Yes.
Or they come and they sing.
And not only that, but just the atmosphere.
The atmosphere was so nice.
Because this atmosphere, you have to realize that this dust was touched by the lotus feet of millions and millions of people. Krishna personally touched this dust. Krishna trampled this. Krishna was here. Krishna is still here. This is not at all an ordinary realm. just to contact this dust, just to continuously live, day in and day out, rolling in the dust of Braja. The dust is flying in the air. The water in Vrindavan is liquid Braja Prema. Just by taking bath in this water. It has this profound influence, especially if there's the inclination. If the inclination is not there, even someone can go to hell by residing, living and dying in Braja. It's not that everyone who lives and dies in Braja goes to Braja. Those who are attached to Aishwarya, Maryada, Bhakti, they will not go to Braja.
You go to Radha Raman temple. Tell me what kind of worship is the seva there? What is it?
What do you mean, what is it?
What is the mood of it?
What do you mean, what is the mood of it?
The worship of Radha Raman. In which mood the devotees are there in?
They're in the mood of worshipping the lover of Radharani. The plaything in the hand of Radharani. Radharaman is a dancing puppy dog in the hands of Radharani. They know that very well. For those who are, general public, they impose some rules and regulations. When you're sitting where the kirtan is, don't put your feet down and sit there with your feet down. Put your feet up. Some regulations. Don't be relaxed.
That's what they say sometimes.
Should be regarded. Some regard is. But for anyone who's having, some of the Sevites, they may be relatively neophyte. The managers, they make sure that some regulative principles are being observed by them. But for the most part, their love for Radharaman is their attachment for Radharaman. It is the attachment of a Brajvasi who knows very well that Radharaman has become the dancing puppy dog, plaything in the hands of Srimati Radharani. That's why he's called Radharaman.
Hare Krishna. Aindra Prabhu, I'd like to know, is possible to get one person? Yesterday, my seva is about around japa, to distributing, to instruct people how to properly use japa, and one person needs 108 names of gopis. One person.
He wants one.
She with family, 2 sons, 2 daughters, and she's So she needs names of gopis, all gopis from Japa.
I don't know if that's, it may be available somewhere, but at least she can have the 8, which are the most important. You know, I've never seen a list of 108. There's different ways. You could say that there's 108 principal gopis.
Huh?
But there's 108 principal gopis.
Yeah.
There's 8 chief gopis, and there's 108 principal gopis.
Yeah.
100 more than the 8 principal gopis.
Yeah.
So the thing is that some devotees may chant with the intention of appealing to the 108 principal gopis, or the 8 principal gopis. But we're not so much interested in chanting or appealing to the 8 principal gopis. Our interest is to worship Radha and Krishna. So we're more interested in appealing to the 8 principal Sakhis. There's a difference between Asta-gopi and Asta-sakhi. Asta-gopi is Radha, Chandravali, Lalita, Shaibya, Vishaka, Padma, and I don't know, 2 others. I can't remember right off. But
Kalindi.
Asta-sakhi, those are Yuteshvaris, group leaders. That means on Radha's side, left wing, and on Chandravali's side, right wing gopis.
Padma is right wing.
Yes. But our interest is in the service of Radha and Krishna. Radharani has 8 principal Sakhis. Sakhis means friends of Radharani. Chandravali also has 8 principal Sakhis. So the 8 principal Sakhis, when we get to this part, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, see here? So this bead doesn't just represent Krishna. This bead represents Yugal, means combined Radha and Krishna. Radha and Krishna in the combined form. You've seen sometimes the picture of Radha and Krishna embracing each other, and one foot is, and there's like you can't see where the Radha begins and Krishna ends, you know? There's one picture like that. Radharani's foot is coming this side, and Krishna's foot is coming this side, like that. You seen that picture? That is Yugal Murti. Radha Krishna Yugal Murti. So the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, they are very fond of this combined form of Radha and Krishna. So that was also Prabhupada's favorite picture. Prabhupada told that his favorite picture was this picture of the combined form of Radha and Krishna, which is in effect when Radha and Krishna are in union. It is considered as the Yugal Milan of Radha and Krishna, when they're united together and becoming one. Radha and Krishna are one. So we worship this bead as Radha Krishna. Not that this is just Krishna, and then the first gopi is Radha, next is Chandravali, next is Lalita, next. This is not the way we chant on the beads. Our concern is to worship Radha Krishna, Jugal Murti. This bead is Radha Krishna Jugal Murti, and her first Sakhi is Lalita Sakhi. So this is Lalita Sakhi, next is Vishaka, next is Chitra Sakhi, next is Induleka Sakhi, next is Champakalata Sakhi, next is Ranga Devi, next is Tunga Vidya, and the 8th Sakhi is Sudevi. So at least we should know these Asta Sakhis. So when we get, and generally there's a little string which is attached there. You've probably seen before. Huh? There's a string attached between the 8th and then the next 100. So the most important is to concentrate on our let's say, prayers and appeals to the Astasakis of Srimati Radharani in her relationship with Krishna. So you can tell her that our concentration is on the Saki Prakarana, Saki Gan of Radha, Radha Saki Gan. So beginning with Lalita, Vishaka, Chitra, Indulekha, Champakalata, Ramnadevi, Tungavidya, and Sudevi. That much we can offer at least. You know, if you see that there's anywhere in any scripture where there's a list of the 108, either 108 gopis or 108 sakis of Radharani, let me know.
I didn't hear that yet.
I hope, you know,
Nobody don't know that.
If you're serious about researching it, maybe you can go to the Vrindavan Research Institute. You know, they might have the answer to that question.
Okay. Pabodananda told me that probably you have all 100.
Huh?
Pabodananda.
Yeah.
He told me that probably you have all 108 names.
All 108. I don't think I don't have.
So I suppose that it is not possible.
No, it may be possible.
I hear.
It may be there because many names of gopis are listed, but I've never seen anywhere in Prabhupada's books a list of 108 gopis.
Yeah.
It may be there somewhere. You know, a list of the primary 108 sakis of Radharani, or the 108 principal Yuteshwaris, group leaders, beginning with Radha and Chandravani. But I'm sure it must be there. Otherwise, they wouldn't say that this is 108 gopis representing 108 gopis. You know, we know clearly that this is either the Asta Gopis or the Asta Sakis, according to the mode of worship. You know, mostly we're concerned with that. You know, how many gopis can we serve anyway? You know, it's so hard to even serve one gopi.
Okay, thank you.
So, I'm maybe I can research also to help you, but if you find the answer first, then I'll be happy to get the answer from you. That, who are the 108 gopis that,
Okay, correct.
Eight sakis, please.
It's 9 o'clock, Aindra.
Yes.
I leave you
Yeah,
alone.
thank you.
Yeah.
Tomorrow I can try to change this gas bottle because Jajitani mustn't have cooked today because gas can has been.
He's gonna go eat with me tomorrow.
Huh?
Jai Chaitanya.
Gonna go eat with you? But today he didn't cook anything.
For himself.
For the deity, for his deity, or for himself, for his deity, for himself, whatever. Because the gas can has been here, I didn't put it back.
And how are you gonna cook?
With this gas can, his gas can.
Okay.
But I feel bad that I've swiped his gas can last night.
And you couldn't get it.
And I had the door locked all day long and he didn't disturb me to ask for the gas can. And I forgot all about it. And we put it over there.
Horrible. tomorrow 5 o'clock I will be there. You know, if I can.
What?
Watch you or help you.
Where?
Altar.
Oh, morning. When was that?
Okay.
Before that you would like to come now.
Okay. Hare Krishna.
That, you know, when I'm doing your worship, I'm on the move. So, you know, it's intense.
I reciprocate.
Just I can't, I'm not going to be able to be distracted. Usually, you know, I'm sure you're aware. Did you ever dress out of Gopi Kalvar?
No. Actually I was there with Ramaroy. You know.
But see, usually the introduction to the service of the deity is done in night sales.
In where?
In nighttime, dressing is not in daytime.
Anyway, I will be just there. I'm not gonna, interfere with your spirit or, or your, certain type of, creative composition of.
Hey, I'm sorry, I didn't, where's Judge Chaitanya? Because I didn't give him his stove back. I don't think he cooked today.
But just to watch, you can learn a lot, Just to watch some good. Okay, Harbo.
Thank you very much for existence.
Thank you very much for your existence. Hare Krishna.
Somehow you got in.
And that's exactly what we didn't want. So much time went by. Just see.
This is preaching,
Yes, preaching, but now, I'm way behind again. It's going to be 1 o'clock in the morning before I take rest again. I'm going to be tired. I have to worship the deity all the morning. You guys have to forgive me.
Thank you.
Helter Skelter.
Thank you is not enough anyway.
Helter Skelter. I'm a Helter Skelter devotee.
Hare Krishna.
Does he know tomorrow?
Yeah, I know. He's here still.
He's here today.
Yeah, he left, I think.
To go over there?
I don't know. Thank you.
Hold up.
Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada.